Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and unearth the most fascinating insights.
And today, we're really getting into it.
We're plunging headfirst into the collected works of Edgar Allan Poe. But maybe not just the Poe you think you know.
Right, we're going beyond the sort of standard horror movie stuff.
Exactly. Moving past the familiar macabre tales to uncover these surprising philosophical questions, even scientific observations hidden inside.
Yeah, challenging what you think you know.
We really want to emerge with a deeper appreciation for Poe's, well, genius, frankly.
It's easy to get swept away by the gothic atmosphere, the terror.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you look closely, Poe's narratives are just, well, remarkably rich. Profound observations on logic, human perception.
Even the fabric of reality itself.
Precisely. We're going to pull out those threads and see how he, through his characters, actually anticipated ideas that resonate even now.
With modern psychology, physics even.
Yeah, it's quite startling sometimes.
So if you're ready to unpack some truly uncanny notions,
And maybe discover why the most baffling secrets are sometimes hiding in plain sight.
let's dive in.
Okay?
So we're kicking off our deep dive with a real masterpiece of deduction, the Purloined Letter.
A classic.
It is. The story immediately throws us this Parisian police chief, the prefect, who's just completely flummoxed.
Right. He basically says the case is simple indeed, and yet baffles us altogether.
Which is a total paradox, isn't it? He can't untangle it.
And Dupin, the brilliant amateur detective, he just jumps right in.
With this counterintuitive thought, perhaps it is the very simplicity of the thing which puts you at fault.
And the prefect's reaction.
He just bursts out laughing. The idea of a mystery,
Yeah.
a little too plain or a little too self-evident, hilarious to him.
Such a human reaction, though. It really shows his limitations.
Totally.
What's striking here is how the prefect, even though he's described as a sagacious agent, quite adept.
He's supposed to be good at this.
Exactly. But he's completely blinded by his own rigid methods. He's convinced concealment must be complex.
And the theft itself is just audacious because of that. Minister D, the culprit.
His move is brilliant in its simplicity. A royal personage, alone, the letter lying open on the table.
She has to put it down, address up when someone comes in.
And Minister D, with his lynx eye, he sees the handwriting, sees her confusion, gets the secret instantly.
And then he just swaps it, puts down a similar-looking letter, and walks out with the real one, right under her nose.
Incredible boldness.
And then the police search that follows.
Oh, man. It's extreme thoroughness, maybe, but not effective thoroughness.
Right, the prefect boasts about this 3-month ransacking of the minister's hotel.
Every nook, every cranny, microscopes on chair rungs.
Mirrors for ceilings, beds, curtains, carpets, even checking adjoining houses.
Every book, every paper. He claims, a single grain of gimlet dust would have been as obvious as an apple.
Which sounds impressive, but
But Dupin's critique is so sharp. He says the police measures were the best of their kind, but carried out to absolute perfection. Their defect lay in their being inapplicable to the case and to the man. That's the key.
yeah. So it really forces you to ask, how do you outsmart someone who anticipates your moves? Especially when your own methods are so, well, predictable.
That's Dupin's core insight. The police, he says, consider only their own ideas of ingenuity, and in searching for anything hidden, advert only to the modes in which they would have hidden it.
They can't step outside their own heads.
Exactly. He used that great analogy, the schoolboy playing even and odd.
Oh yeah, the clever kid wins not by calculating odds, but by
Identifying with the opponent, by fashioning the expression of my face to match theirs. He reads their mind, basically.
And Minister D, Dupin says, is unique because he's both a poet and mathematician.
Right. A mere mathematician, Dupin argues, reasons from finite truths, as if they were of an absolutely general applicability. Predictable. Easily caught.
But D, the poet-mathematician, he can think logically and intuitively.
So he anticipates the ordinary policial modes of action. He knows how they'll search.
Dupin uses another great analogy, too, about things being too obvious.
The street signs with huge letters or words stretched across map puzzles.
Right. We overlook them precisely because they're screaming for attention. Excessively obvious.
So Dupin's solution, once he gets this, it's almost funny how simple it is.
He visits the minister's hotel, puts on green spectacles.
Right, pretends his eyes are weak so he can have a good look around without suspicion.
And he spots it. This, trumpery filigree card rack, hanging, dangling by a dirty blue ribbon.
Just stuck there on the mantelpiece. with one single letter in it.
And the letter looks wrong. Much soiled and crumpled, torn nearly in two.
The genius part, it was turned inside out, readdressed, resealed, made to look unimportant.
Hidden in plain sight.
Exactly. So Dupin arranges a commotion outside,
Creates a distraction.
swaps the letter back, and collects a huge reward from the prefect, 50,000 francs.
Wow. So, I mean, what this all boils down to, I think, is Poe saying something powerful.
About ingenuity.
Yeah, human ingenuity, especially when it's combined with, like, a deep understanding of human nature.
And a willingness to think outside the box.
It just outmaneuvers brute force and rigid logic every time. It's about understanding the mind, not just the method.
Precisely. And that idea, understanding the mind, well, it brings us to a much darker corner of Poe's psyche.
Oh, boy. The imp of the perverse.
Right. Poe introduces this idea of perverseness, not as like a normal motive.
No, it's something else.
It's a radical, primitive, irreducible sentiment, a mobile without motive, where we act for the reason that we should not.
That urge to do the wrong thing because it's wrong.
An unconquerable force pushing us to do wrong for the wrong's sake only. It's a really fascinating, almost pre-Freudian idea.
He argues it's fundamental, right? Something philosophers overlooked.
Absolutely. Think about that impulse he describes, to tantalize a listener by circumlocution, even when you know they hate it.
Or worse, that terrifying urge to jump when you're standing on a cliff edge.
Precisely because your reason is screaming, don't do it.
We see this imp just run wild in The Black Cat. It's horrific.
Yeah, the narrator starts out loving animals, especially his cat, Pluto.
But then alcohol, intemperance, this demon takes over.
And his first truly chilling act, driven by this impulse.
Cutting out Pluto's eye. Ugh.
And what's so chilling is how he explains it. He says his spirit of perverseness is what caused his final and irrevocable overthrow.
He hangs Pluto specifically because he knew the cat loved him, because it gave him no reason.
Hung it because I knew that in so doing I was committing a sin, a deadly sin.
Yeah.
The wrongness is the motive.
And then the aftermath is just bizarre. The house fire.
And that miraculous image of the cat with a rope burned onto the remaining wall.
Then the second cat appears. Looks like Pluto, but with that white mark.
And the narrator feels unutterable loathing. He says it's evident fondness for myself, rather disgusted and annoyed.
Which leads to the climax. His wife stops him from killing the second cat with an axe.
And in a rage more than demoniacal, he kills her instead.
He feels supreme happiness thinking the cat fled, but then the police come.
And his own smugness, his inscrutability, as he calls it,
He taps the wall where he hid the body.
revealing the cat's cry from within, and he just breaks. Villains! It is the beating of his hideous heart.
The imp leads him straight to confessing. He undoes himself.
Building on that, the cask of Amontillado takes perverseness in a different direction. It's calculated.
Cold.
Very cold. Montresor's revenge against Fortunato isn't about sudden rage, it's deliberate cruelty.
He says, I must not only punish, but punish with impunity. The victim has to know who's doing it.
Right, the avenger must make himself felt, and Fortunato's own pride, his weakness for wine,
His supposed connoisseurship.
leads him right into the trap, down into the catacombs despite his cough, the damp, the niter.
Montresor even gives him that chilling clue, the family arms.
Oh yeah, a huge human foot door in a field azure. The foot crushes a serpent rampant whose fangs are embedded in the heel.
And the motto? Nemo me impune cessit.
No one assails me with impunity. Basically, don't mess with me.
And the method? Chaining him up, walling him in alive.
That low moaning cry as the drunkenness wears off.
Yeah.
Then the furious vibrations of the chain. Then silence.
And Montresor just listens, satisfied.
It's not the impulsive perverseness of the Black Cat narrator. This is premeditated evil, finding satisfaction in the act itself.
That's a really key distinction. And William Wilson, wow, that takes the idea of this inner antagonist, this imp, almost literally.
The doppelganger.
Yeah, the narrator, he's kind of a bully, a despot at school. But he meets his match in William Wilson.
Who shares his name, birthday, looks incredibly similar.
And this other Wilson, he's always interfering, but subtly, with this unwelcome affectionateness.
Constantly thwarting the narrator's bad behavior, exposing him when he cheats at cards at Oxford, for example.
It's like his conscience, or maybe the imp, is literally walking beside him.
Until the final confrontation. He kills his rival.
Only to find himself staring into a mirror, and the dying Wilson says,
You have murdered yourself. The ultimate act of self-destruction.
chilling.
And the torment of guilt, which is another side of this self-destructive coin, is just visceral in the telltale heart.
The obsession with the old man's vulture eye.
He plans the murder meticulously, thinking the detail proves his sanity.
when really it shows the opposite.
Right. He dismembers the body, hides it flawlessly under the floorboards. No bloodstain. Very neat.
Then the police arrive. He's so confident, so brazen. Pace the floor to and fro with a light heart, he says.
But then he starts to hear it, or thinks he hears it.
That growing, internal, hellish tattoo, the old man's beating heart,
Is his own guilt, of course, amplified in his mind.
driving him mad until he completely breaks down and screams the confession.
Villains, it is the beating of his hideous heart. Taken together, these stories show just how deeply Poe got the internal forces driving us to our own ruin.
Yeah, whether it's impulse or cold calculation or just inescapable guilt, he mapped it out.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit, from the purely psychological to the existential.
Into Poe's really mind-bending ideas about consciousness, mortality, maybe even reality itself.
Starting with mesmeric revelation. This is a strange one.
It introduces Mr. Van Kirk, who's dying, and he's been mesmerized.
Right, seeking answers about the soul's immortality.
And under mesmerism, he experiences the state of exaltation. He perceives things.
He says he can perceive a train of ratiocination, which convinces him of immortality, but he can't quite bring it back into his normal state.
Which makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if our normal waking consciousness is actually limited?
What if it prevents us from seeing the bigger picture? That's Van Kirk's point. And under mesmerism, he proposes this, well, revolutionary idea.
Unparticled matter.
Yes, matter so incredibly fine it has no particles, it's indivisible, and he equates this matter with God.
He says, what men attempt to embody in the word thought is this matter in motion.
It's this wild attempt to unify consciousness, matter, the divine, all in one concept.
He takes the idea of matter to this absolute extreme, gradations from dense metal up through the luminiferous ether.
Which was the theory back then for how light traveled.
Right, and then even rarer, finer states until the interspaces must vanish and the mass absolutely coalesce, pure unity.
And a connection to us, to humanity.
Is that to create individual thinking beings, it was necessary to incarnate portions of the divine mind. Thus, man is individualized.
So, without our bodies, divested of corporate investiture, he were God.
Wow. And human thought is just the particular motion of these incarnated bits of unparticled matter.
So death, in this view, isn't the end. It's a painful metamorphosis.
Like the worm and the butterfly.
Exactly. To a perfected, ultimate, immortal life. The ultimate body is unorganized, has unlimited comprehension, perceives things directly.
Without organs. Our organs are just cages necessary to confine us until we're ready.
And all the stuff in the universe, nebulae, planets, suns, it's just pabulum, food, basically, for the organs of these rudimental beings like us.
It's an entire cosmology packed into a short story. It's stunning.
It really is expansive thinking. And then in the facts, in the case of M. Valdemar, he pushes those boundaries between life and death even further into pure horror.
Oh, this one is disturbing. M. Valdemar is dying of phthisis.
Tuberculosis, basically.
Yeah.
And he agrees to be mesmerized right at the point of death.
His physical state becomes completely ambiguous. Pulse gone, breathing faint, cold, rigid.
But as the narrator says, not that of death, it's something else.
And when asked, do you still sleep? He whispers back.
Yes, still asleep, dying, just chillin'.
But the real horror kicks in after he seems to die. He speaks again.
Yes, no, I have been sleeping, and now I am dead.
The description of the unutterable, shuddering horror of that moment, unforgettable.
And his state continues. No breath, no blood flow, unresponsive body. But his tongue still vibrates when asked questions.
So they decide to keep him mesmerized, thinking waking him would cause instant dissolution.
Until his final awful plea.
For God's sakes, quick, put me to sleep, or quick, dag waken me, quick, I say to you that I am dead. It's just pure nightmare fuel, exploring that terrifying space between.
And Poe wasn't just pulling this stuff out of thin air. He was tapping into real anxieties of the time.
Like premature burial.
Exactly. The premature burial dives right into what he calls the most terrific of these extremes.
Being buried alive. He points out the shadowy and vague lines between life and death, especially with things like catalepsy.
Where someone could appear dead but isn't. He even mentions supposed real cases.
The Baltimore lady found as a skeleton standing up in her shroud. Mademoiselle Lafourcade rescued by her lover.
It really hammers home the question, what if the worst thing isn't actually dying, but being conscious while trapped, helpless, forgotten.
Yeah, that's the core fear. The narrator in the story suffers from catalepsy himself, lives in perpetual horror.
So he takes all these elaborate
A
precautions.
vault that opens from inside, air vents, food, water, a coffin with a spring lid.
Even a bell rope tied to his hand, running outside the coffin.
And despite all that, he has this terrifying experience of awakening in a narrow, dark space. Smells earth, feels a bandage on his jaw,
He thinks it's happened. He's been buried alive.
before realizing, thankfully, it was just a bad dream in a cramped ship's berth. But Poe absolutely nails that universal primal fear.
He really does. Okay, let's pivot slightly now to how Poe uses nature and architecture.
Right, how he imbues places with psychological weight, makes them almost characters.
Starting with a descent into the maelstrom. The setting itself is overwhelming. The Lofoten coast, Helsingin Mountain, the Moscow Strum whirlpool.
It's pure sublime terror. The maelstrom is described with ungovernable fury, gigantic vortices.
Depth is emphasized, just hammering home the sheer power of nature.
And the old man telling the story, his experience is horrific. Hurricane, loses his brothers, dragged into the vortex.
But what's amazing is what he does in the vortex, amidst absolute terror.
He starts observing, almost scientifically.
Right. He watches the debris swirling around in wood, barrels, wreckage, and makes three important observations.
Larger things sink faster, spheres sink faster than other shapes.
And cylinders sink slowest.
That's truly remarkable, isn't it? In the face of just soul-crushing fear.
The human mind can still engage in critical thinking, pattern recognition, find a solution.
It's that interplay between the immaterial, the fear, and the material, the physics.
His ability to see those laws, even there, is how he figures out he can save himself by lashing onto a barrel, a cylindrical one.
It's an incredible testament to observation, even under extreme duress.
Fantastic point. And speaking of environments as characters, maybe the ultimate example is the fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, absolutely. The first impression is just insufferable gloom. The house itself feels alive or dying.
Those vacant eye-like windows, the reflection in the black and lurid tarn.
You get the sense immediately that the house and the family are one decaying entity. Even the peasants think so.
There's that pestilent and mystic vapor hanging over everything, like the decay is literally in the air.
And Roderick Usher himself embodies it. Cadaverous, luminous eyes, gossamer hair.
Extreme sensitivity. Light, sound, taste, touch, everything is agony for him. His auditory nerve is so shot he can only stand stringed instruments,
And he sings that poem, The Haunted Palace.
which is clearly an allegory for his own mind falling apart. The radiant palace attacked by evil things.
Vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody. A hideous throng, rush out forever, and laugh, but smile no more. It's him.
You're right, the house is his mind externalized, and his belief system reinforces it.
The sentience of all vegetable things.
Yes, and the gray stones of the house itself, the fungi, the trees, he thinks they all have a consciousness that influences the family's fate.
Because of the method of collocation of these stones, he says. The way they're put together creates this atmosphere.
An atmosphere that infects the narrator too, that unbearable sense of gloom.
Then comes the premature burial of his sister Madeline in the vault.
And the climax, as the narrator reads the mad tryst to Roderick during a storm.
The sounds from the story, the door cracking, the dragon's shriek, the shield clanging seem to happen in the house.
Because Madeline is escaping her tomb.
Her reappearance, her collapse onto Roderick, killing them both.
Followed by that tumultuous shouting sound as the house itself cracks and falls into the tarn.
Swallowing everything, the house and family, gone together, symbiotic collapse.
Utterly complete. Now, the Mask of the Red Death shows a different psychological response to horror denial, escape.
Prince Prospero trying to wall out the plague, the Red Death.
He locks himself and 1,000 friends away in this fortified abbey, this magnificent playground.
And the abbey itself is so theatrical, those 7 colored rooms.
Each with matching stained glass except the last one, the Black Room.
Which has blood-red windows, scarlet, and eerie lighting from outside.
And in that Black Room, the giant ebony clock.
Whose chime stops everything, every hour, that dull, heavy, monotonous clang.
Makes the revelers pause, get pale, think about death, before forcing themselves back into the party.
Until the uninvited guest arrives.
The masked figure, dressed as the Red Death itself, utterly horrifying.
It moves through the rooms, nobody dares stop it. Until Prospero gets enraged.
He chases it into the Black Chamber, confronts it.
And dies instantly. Then everyone else follows.
Darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all. a chilling fable about the impossibility of escaping mortality.
You just can't wall death out.
That's a powerful point. The island of the Fae offers a more subtle, allegorical landscape.
Yeah, that circular island. One side bright and beautiful, the radiant harem of garden beauties.
The western end, light, contrasting with the eastern end.
Blackest shade, gloom. Even the butterflies are mistaken for winged tulips, blurring reality.
And the landscape itself becomes this metaphor, right?
Exactly. The fae, the fairy in her canoe, she's happy in the light part, sorrowful in the shade.
Her shadow gets swallowed up in the dark water each time she passes into the gloom.
Symbolizing the approach of death with each cycle of the brief year of her life.
She gets fainter, more sorrowful, more indistinct with each lap.
Until she's a mere ghost and vanishes into the ebony flood. It's just this beautiful, sad image of life's fleeting cycle.
Tied completely to the landscape, to light and dark. Very poignant.
And then Poe turns landscape itself into an art form, almost a spiritual practice.
In the domain of Arnheim and Lander's cottage, we meet Ellison, this incredibly wealthy guy.
Who decides landscape gardening is the ultimate artistic pursuit, the most magnificent of opportunities for a poet.
He thinks natural scenery, however beautiful, can always be improved, that no such combination exists in nature as the painter of genius may produce.
Which raises that interesting question, is art about imitation or perfection?
Ellison seems to think perfection. He even suggests geological upheavals were preparations for man's subsequently conceived deathful condition.
Meaning improving the landscape is a kind of moral or spiritual act for our death-refined appreciation.
Or even for earth angels. His goal is to infuse his designs with such beauty and novelty that they convey the sentiment of spiritual interference.
Making the art feel like a secondary nature, not God's work, but maybe the work of angels that hover between man and God.
Nature as communion. And Lander's cottage shows this in practice. The winding path, the vanishing pictures, as fog clears.
Revealing this perfectly designed valley. Granite cliffs, specific trees chosen for effect, the crystal lake.
Even flying fish, ivy, grapevines, the cottage architecture itself, Dutch shingles wider at the bottom like Egyptian style.
It's all meticulously crafted for beauty and harmony. Even the simple interior with flowers everywhere, a perfected little world.
Its landscape is the ultimate art.
Okay, let's totally switch gears now. This is fun.
Right.
You might think some of Poe's descriptions are just, pure fantasy, wild imagination.
But he actually kept notes, didn't he? In a section called Scheherazade.
Exactly. And they reveal these surprising real-world counterparts to some of his wildest ideas. Get ready for some aha moments.
It's amazing how much he drew from the science and oddities of his day. Blurs the lines completely.
Makes you realize truth really can be stranger than fiction.
Okay, let's hit some highlights.
Right, rapid fire. He talks about forests of solid stone.
Petrified forests. They're real. Texas, near Cairo. Trees literally turned to stone.
And sinking land creating lakes.
Also real. He mentions the earthquake in Caracas, 1790. Granite soil sank, made a lake, and submerged trees stayed green for months underwater. Wild.
Okay, dense air. Seems like pure fantasy.
But steel can be reduced to an impalpable powder that floats in air under certain processes.
Wow. What about plants that don't need soil?
Oh yeah. The epidendron, Flossaeris, lives entirely on air, parasites like the huge Rafflesia flower.
And that truly bizarre New Zealand caterpillar.
The hot, a plant grows out of its head after it dies or goes dormant.
Yeah.
Nature's just weird.
Okay, that caterpillar is definite nightmare fuel. What about living lights, moving plants?
Yep. A fungus in mines that glows brightly phosphorescence. And plants like orchis, scabious, vallisneria that actually move around.
And trapping flowers, like plants that hunt.
Well, trapped for pollination. The Euryscolochia clematitis uses hairs to guide and trap a specific insect, the Taputa penicornis.
Holds it prisoner until it pollinates the flower, then lets it go.
Basically, yeah. Tiny, perfect engineering.
Which Poe loved, right?
Yeah.
Nature's engineering.
Totally. Bees' hexagonal cells mathematically perfect for space and strength. Windmill sails.
Which mathematicians struggled with.
Until they realized the optimal shape precisely mimicked a bird's wing. Nature had it right all along.
Okay, now the 19th century magical technologies he mentions are amazing. The huge horse whose bones were iron and whose blood was boiling water.
Clearly the steam locomotive, dragging huge loads faster than birds fly. The Great Western Railway was hitting 70 mph then.
Incredible. And the hen without feathers, but bigger than a horse.
Almost certainly a hot air balloon.
What about magicians counting motions 900 millions of times in a second?
That's Newton, his calculation of how fast the retina vibrates when seeing violet light. Real physics.
And making corpses brandish their arms, kick out their legs, even get up and dance.
That's the voltaic pile, an early battery. Experiments using electricity to stimulate dead muscles were a real and startling phenomenon back then. Galvanism.
Sounds horrifying. Okay, a voice heard from one end of the world to the other. A long arm writing letters instantly between cities.
The electrotelegraph printing apparatus. Instantaneous long-distance communication. He saw it coming.
And creating silence from loud sounds or darkness from bright light.
Real experiments. Demonstrating wave interference. Sounds like magic, but it's physics.
Making ice in a red-hot furnace. Seriously.
A weird property of sulfuric acid in a hot crucible. A known scientific curiosity or demonstration piece then.
Wow. Directing the sun to paint his portrait.
The daguerreotype. Early photography. Literally painting with light.
And weighing planets, seeing objects blotted out millions of years ago.
That's astronomy and physics. Understanding planetary mechanics and the vast distances of stars, realizing we see their ancient light. Light from stars that might not even exist anymore.
It's incredible. He was clearly paying close attention to the science of his day, weaving it all in.
Absolutely, he was fascinated by it.
Well, that was quite the journey, wasn't it? Phew.
It really was. From the depths of the mind to the edges of the cosmos.
Poe really invites us, pushes us, to look beyond the surface, to question our assumptions.
Indeed. I think what really stands out, looking back over all this,
What's the big takeaway for you?
it's how Poe, through all these different stories, keeps coming back to this theme. That true understanding often comes not from looking harder, but from looking differently.
Yeah.
The most profound truths, the solutions, the horrors. They can be hidden by being too obvious.
Or just hidden by our own ingrained ways of thinking, our own biases.
Exactly. Whether you're solving a crime like Dupin or confronting the imp of the perverse inside yourself.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What obvious truths are we missing right now in our own lives, in the world?
Just because they don't fit our neat little boxes,
Yeah.
our preconceived notions.
Maybe the greatest mysteries aren't way out there in the unknown.
Maybe they're right here, right in front of us. Or even, like you said, deep inside us, waiting to be seen differently.